What is up, guys? Welcome back to YouTube Relic, and we are done the break, and we are done ranking month, and now, today's video, we're going to be going over front-loaded albums. This is basically albums that start off amazing, whatever, they put the singles or just the best songs first, then, in my opinion, they lose steam towards the second half. It might be just because they just had to put on some fillers, or they don't have the singles in the second half, just whatever it is. That's what we're going to be doing. And I might consider doing backloaded albums, which is basically albums where the second half is far superior to the first half. And yeah, so these are albums that I all enjoy, but I have to admit, some are very front-loaded, some are a tad bit front-loaded. So we'll get into this, just list. It's not a ranking, just a list of front-loaded albums after the intro.
Handle.
Alright guys, so that was the intro, and now I'll be going into my first. So these go in alphabetical order because it's based off when I looked at all my CDs and just pulled them out because it's in alphabetical order. So we're going to go to my first front-loaded album, and that is Deftones' Self-Titled, released in 2003? Yeah, 2003. So, basically, this is definitely a good album, but it's one of their lesser albums because Deftones is not a bad album. And its front-loaded thing is the first 3 tracks. They are all so amazing. Hexagram, Needles and Pins, and Minerva. Those 3 tracks. 2 of them are singles. Hexagram, maybe Chino Moreno's, their vocalist, his best work on vocals, and it has such a great groove and chorus. Needles and Pins, very heavy track, great deep cut. And then Minerva, one of my favorite tracks by the band. It's a single. There's a fly over there. But yeah. And then after that, there's still other good songs. I like Bloody Kate, Battle Axe is pretty cool. But there's just also just some of their most lesser songs on here. Not bad songs, but just lesser songs. And considering how much I love those first 3 songs, yeah, pretty front-loaded. Not very front-loaded, but pretty front-loaded. Next up, I have Filter Short Bus. So yeah, this album is their debut, and you can definitely tell that it is. I just think that there's lots of kind of sound samey songs on here, but it begins very good with Hey Man Nice Shot, which is still maybe their best track. Dose, Under, which are other 2 great singles. Those first 3 songs are amazing. And also Stuck in Here, which is this acoustic song, track 6. So even though Spent and Take Another aren't my favorites, I consider those first 6 songs to be where it's at, considering 4 out of those 6 are some of their best work. The second half really isn't that good, in my opinion, and yeah. But that's why I consider it front-loaded, just because there's so many great tracks in that first 6 songs. And I do like Gerbil. So Cool is a pretty good closer, but they don't compare to the songs in the first 6 tracks. So this next band has actually 2 entries on this list, and though I do think actually all but their top 2 albums are front-loaded, which is why they're not their top 2 albums, they both still hold up pretty well, and that's the Foo Fighters, one of my favorite bands ever. I love Dave Grohl, but I have to admit, almost all their albums are front-loaded in a sense, but these 2 are the most front-loaded. First up, we got One by One from 2002. There's the tracks. Yeah, this album starts off amazing. You got All My Life, Low, Have It All, Times Like These. Those first 3 tracks, the first 4 songs in here are all singles, and All My Life, Low, Have It All, as I said, those first 3 tracks are good songs. Then you have Times Like These, which might be my favorite song of all time. It is so good. Oh my gosh, just everything about it. I'm not really going to go into analysis of this album, but yeah, those first 4 songs are amazing. And also the closer, Come Back, is severely underrated. I love that track. But the whole middle section of this album is actually bad, in my opinion. Disenchanted, Lullaby, Overdrive, and Burn Away are some, actually bad songs, and the rest is pretty uninteresting. Yeah, I really like those first 4 tracks and Come Back, but I have to admit, it's pretty bad other than that, which is why this is front-loaded. And as I said, almost all Foo Fighters albums are front-loaded in a sense, but that one is severely front-loaded. Another one that I think is pretty darn front-loaded is Concrete and Gold from 2017. There's 11 tracks on here, but the first 7 are great. T-Shirts, this little acoustic thing that leads amazingly in to Run, which is one of their best songs. I absolutely love everything about Run. It is so cool. Make It Right's a pretty good jam. The Sky's the Neighborhood, great single. La Di Da, pretty good track. And then Dirty Water and Arrows are some great deep cuts as well. Those first 7 songs are so darn good. And for a band that seemed to be past their prime, especially Run and Arrows, oh my goodness. They are still kicking, as you can tell. And then you have, like, The Line, I think, is a pretty good song. But tracks like Sunday Rain, Happy Ever After, Concrete and Gold, those 3 songs I just don't really like. And they do not stand up. Even The Line, which I think is a good song, does not stand up to those first 7 songs. This album's front-loaded. Definitely not a bad album, like I think One by One would be if it didn't have Times Like These on it. Coming up next, I have Korn's Follow the Leader from 1998, I believe. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, first 4 songs on here. Like, their 4 best songs, maybe. Oh my gosh. It's On, maybe their best album opener. And then Freak on a Leash, of course, the Korn song. It's like their most popular song, and it's actually so amazing. Maybe the best track on the album. Love Got the Life, another great single, and Dead Bodies Everywhere, one of their best deep cuts. I love the heaviness of it. Lyrics are very cool. Those first 4 songs are amazing. Then after that, you have some of their absolute worst tracks, like Children of the Corn with Ice Cube. I like Ice Cube. He's a pretty good rapper. He does not need to be on the Korn song. Then you have All in the Family with Fred Durst. I like Limp Bizkit. And I know him and Jonathan Davis are friends. It's such a cringy song. Tracks like Camel Toast is My Gift to You, really just not that interesting. Though I do really like BBK and Justin. Those first 4 songs are just so good. Nothing can compare to them, and they're all placed right at the beginning. So I'm sorry. Coming up next, I have Mudvayne's The End of All Things to Come. So yeah, Mudvayne, one of the biggest downfalls in history. The debut, LD50. That album is amazing, truly one of the best new metal, maybe my favorite new metal album of all time. And then this is the second album, I think, really kind of got people the wrong image, because the singles off here, Not Falling and World So Cold. World So Cold was one of my favorite songs of all time, and Not Falling is a great jam as well. So I think people, like even me, when I first listened to LD50 and then I got this album, like, I was really hyped up after I knew those songs. World So Cold was the first Mudvayne song I ever heard. And the first 7 tracks out of the 13 songs in here are some of their absolute best. Sorry, the first 8 songs, actually, out of the 13. Silenced is an amazing heavy track. And even though Trapped in the Wake of a Dream and A Version of Truth aren't my favorites, they're still good songs. As I said, Not Falling's amazing. Mercy's Severity, that is an amazing deep cut. As World So Cold, so many great things about that. And, The Patient Mental, one of my favorite tracks as well. The guitar and production on that is amazing. And, like, the last 2 minutes of it is so beautiful. It's amazing. And Skyring's a kind of progressive track. I like that one as well. After that, pretty bad. Shout of a Man's a cringy song. I don't know what track 11 is. 12, 97, 24, 99. Just a waste of time. Never liked the titled track. Like, the first 8 songs, oh my gosh. And then the second half of this thing is where the downfall begins for Mudvayne. LD50 is up here, the first half of this album's up here as well, and then it just goes straight to garbage. I still think it's a decent listen, though, considering how, there's so many great tracks on it. But why are they all cooped up at the beginning? I don't understand. Great album cover, too. Next up, I have Pantera, A Vulgar Display of Power. Never been the biggest on Pantera, but Cowboys from Hell, that's an amazing album. This album is pretty darn good, too. First 5 songs. Absolutely amazing. Mouth for A New Level, those songs I really like. And then Walk, of course. First Pantera song I ever heard. Probably everyone's Pantera song. I mean, it's still a great song. Maybe a bit tired of it, but it's great. And then F-word Hostile. Hostile. You guys know what I mean. That is maybe my favorite Pantera song. It is just brutal for 2 minutes. This Love, again, maybe one of my favorite Pantera songs. It is so good. After that, it gets pretty bad. I think Live in a Hole is pretty underrated, and I do like lots of parts of Hollow, but those first 5 songs cannot be touched, and I think that's why there is, it's really hard to follow it up after those first 5 songs are all placed there. Next up, I have The Police, Ghost in the Machine. When I first bought this album, I was like, yeah, this has got to be my favorite Police album, because the singles on here, jeez, Spirits in the Material World, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, my favorite Police song. Invisible Sun, Secret Journey, like those singles, jeez. And almost all of them are placed at the beginning. The first 3 tracks are all the singles. So those, and I know Secret Journey is track 10, but like it's probably my least favorite of the singles, but it's still an amazing track. The 3 singles those first 3 singles are so amazing, and they're all at the beginning of the album. I really like the riff in Demolition Man, and Rehumanize Yourself I also really love, but after track 7, which is Rehumanize Yourself, it really goes down. Omega Man and Darkness are just really boring, kind of sloppy songs. And One World Not 3, it's a decent track. I don't think this album's that front-loaded. I just don't know why they always like to put the singles first. It gets kind of annoying. And this is another one that I don't think is that front-loaded, but I have Battle of Los Angeles by Rage Against the Machine. Always been kind of like the odd one out in the Rage Against the Machine chronology discography. It again, it starts off amazing with Testify, Guerrilla Radio. Those are 2 of their best singles. Really Like Calm Like a Bomb and Sleep Now in the Fire. Amazing. Those, like, pretty much the whole first 5 tracks, even really like Mic Check, are so great. And then I like Maria and Ashes in the Fall is a great track, but the whole second half is pretty sound samey other than those 2 songs. And as much as I hate to do this, this is one of my top 20 favorite albums of all time. As much as I hate to put this on here, I have to admit that it is front-loaded. Slipknot, self-titled. Man, this is, like, again, this and LD50 might be my favorite new metal albums. They are just such a cool band, and I have to admit this is a pretty front-loaded album, because these first 6 songs, my goodness. Like, these first 6 songs are why this is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's not the second half at all. Like, the intro track with all the numbers, the whole thing, I think it's sick. Yeah, I love that intro track. And then Sick, Eyeless, Wait and Bleed, Surfacing, Spit It Out. Those are all so great, especially Eyeless and Wait and Bleed. Even Surfacing, like, I think all those first 6 tracks are 10 out of 10s. I'm not going to go in depth because this isn't like a ranking or a Slipknot thing, but I love them. Like, Me Inside I also really like, and Scissors. But most of the second half is, it's alright. And another one that I hate to put on here, but I have to admit that it is a type of front-loaded, I have Tears for Fears, The Tipping Point. I mean, out of the 10 songs on here, this is something that I don't really like that lots of artists have been doing recently, new or old artists. They release, like, half the album as singles. That's right. Literally, out of the 10 songs in here, the first 6 songs are all singles. And they're all amazing. No Small Thing. Kind of an interesting Tears for Fears track, but I really like it. Tipping Point, Long, Long, Long Time. Break the Man, still one of my favorite Tears for Fears songs, even if it's from this new album. My Demons and Rivers of Mercy. All those 6 songs are singles, and they're all so amazing. Please Be Happy, I really don't like the lyrics in that. Master Plan and End of the Night are pretty generic, though I do think that Stay is a great closer. When you have 6 songs as singles, and they're all so great, why put them all at the beginning? And there's only 4 non-singles on here. And this is a very controversial band. The only reason I own this album is because the first 6 tracks on here. I have Trapped, the self-titled album. Literally the only 7 songs they have ever put out that were good are on here. Because the first 6 songs, Headstrong, whatever, you can say what you want about it. That's a great song. Made of Glass, Hollow Man, those are pretty good tracks, but These Walls, Still Frame It, Echo. I love all those 3 songs. And Stories, track 10 is pretty good too. But those first 6 songs really make you think it's going to be a band. And then the second half falls off pretty hard. And then after that, Trapped just becomes just a bad band. Finally on here, I have one of my favorite bands, and probably my favorite current band right now. 21 Pilots, Scaled and Icy. Which, this album had very bad reviews. But I'm telling you, it starts off great. I love Good Days and Open Heart. Choker, Shy Away, some of my favorite songs by the band. And Saturday. Like, 4 out of the first 5 songs are so great on here. And then it falls off pretty bad. Bounce Man and Redecorate, I think, are pretty great songs. But, like, The Outside and Formidable, No Chances, I really don't enjoy those songs at all. So, yeah, I do think that it's pretty front-loaded. Yeah, those are albums that I think are pretty front-loaded. You know, they have some of the greatest tracks. I noticed about lots of these, actually pretty much all of these have the singles first. Which, though lots of albums I do really, really love some deep cuts on, these front-loaded albums, what they lack are deep cuts.
Thanks for watching this video. Now look at this person. And again, thank you for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe, even though Burlick is bad. Anyways, bye.